ahead on 12 News. The buzz behind the disappearing bees. A Maple Grove beekeeper helps explain the problem. Then a piece of history revived.
This lake is so full of history that it's fun to share it with people.
Local volunteers take us aboard the Steamboat Minnehaha. But first, complaints about a light rail project ramp up in Golden Valley. 12 News starts right now. Golden Valley residents are sounding off on the proposed Bottineau light rail line.
They are raising concerns about noise, location, and stops along the proposed route. 12 News reporter Delane Cleveland has more on those concerns. Delane?
Yeah, Mike and Shannon, the transit line is meant to connect the Northwest Metro to downtown Minneapolis and the Mall of America. From the standpoint of Hennepin County, the line would serve the transportation needs of a growing region. But plenty of Golden Valley residents are saying, not in my backyard.
This whole area has been so pristine and so quiet and such a nice refuge.
Near the intersection of Golden Valley Road and Theodore Wirth Parkway sits an area that is part of the preferred route for the Bottineau Transitway.
This is not a done deal.
But listen to the Golden Valley mayor.
I know everybody in this room is not in favor of this. I still have concerns about it.
And others who came out for a roundtable discussion Thursday night.
I want it to come through. I just don't want it to come through where it's at because it doesn't make sense.
And you'll find plenty of people who think the recommended location is less than ideal.
If you want to bring a station into downtown where it's central, that makes sense. But to bring a station into the most eastern portion of Golden Valley is ludicrous.
Much of the frustration stems from how the proposed light rail route wouldn't directly serve many of Golden Valley's residents.
This plan really isn't being built just to serve Golden Valley. It's just part of a larger regional system. So we're looking at how can we best serve multi-communities, how can we have the most benefits, how can we have the least amount of impacts.
Seeking answers to those questions is exactly why project officials wanted to hear from this group.
People are concerned about crime. We talked quite a bit about parking. Everyone is very concerned about the ecological aspects.
Meanwhile, Golden Valley officials say they're still evaluating the facts.
If it's not doable, then the city council in 2 years may say, sorry county, sorry Met Council, sorry Robbinsdale, sorry all the other cities up and down the line. It's just not going to work for us.
Well, project officials say there's still a lot of engineering work and analysis to do before they understand the true impact of the proposed route, and they still have to get approval from each of the cities along that route. That won't happen, though, for another couple years. Mike?
All right, it's a long process. Thanks, Delane. A much different rail project will result in less noise in New Hope. And the Federal Rail Authority has approved a quiet zone at the railroad crossing on Boone Avenue. Train engineers will not be allowed to sound their horns from 10 p.m. until 6 a.m. It's good news for nearby residents, and the city has a plan to make sure that this remains a safe crossing.
Actually, on the north side of the tracks on Boone Avenue, for 100 feet, we're going to pour a 4-foot wide concrete island. On the south side of the railroad tracks, we're going to pour a 4-foot wide by 30-foot long concrete island. And that will hopefully avoid anybody from crossing over the island and going through the crossing when they shouldn't.
The total cost of the project is $50,000. The quiet zone takes effect next spring when Boone Avenue improvements are scheduled to be completed.
There is light at the end of the tunnel on Highway 169. This is the last weekend of scheduled closures. The southbound lanes of 169 will be closed between 77th Avenue and Highway 55. They will reopen by 5 a.m. Monday. This is the 8th and final weekend of 169 closures as crews finish resurfacing the highway. There's been a lot of buzz lately about the honeybee shortage. The problem could affect your grocery bill.
And a beekeeper from Maple Grove is trying to help honeybees survive. 12 News reporter Sonia Goins has her story.
Are you ready?
Beekeeping is serious business.
These are alfalfa fields.
On the edge of these alfalfa fields sit 4 beehives.
So I have a total of 7 hives. I have 2 here. Their populations are usually the largest around this time of year.
Mila Meyer has been a hobby beekeeper for 4 years.
And this is where the bees will put all of their honey.
A farmer in Rogers lets her keep her hives on his land.
So the queen will be in the 2 bottom boxes typically. She can lay up to 1,000 eggs a day.
Mila lives in Maple Grove, and the city doesn't allow homeowners to have hives.
Their laws prohibit them in your backyard unless you're on agricultural property.
Last winter, about 1/3 of the honeybee population in the United States was destroyed. If the population continues to decrease, that could cause quite a sting at the grocery store.
Apples, strawberries, blueberries, anything that flowers, that has a flower is trying to attract a pollinator.
Scientists are still trying to figure out what's causing the bees to die off. Some say pesticides are to blame.
Think about not using pesticides in your garden, on your lawns.
Mila says so far her bees are looking good.
These bees that are coming and going are forage bees. They're acting very normal, and looking at how the queen is laying her eggs, it looks pretty healthy.
She says she's glad to do her part to beef up the bee population.
I do feel like I'm helping by keeping bees. I try to keep my bees healthy, and I'm definitely helping any area farmers that are nearby, or even homeowners who have backyard gardens.
In Rogers,
I see how hard they work.
Sonia Goins, 12 News.
This year, the Minnesota State Legislature passed a pollinator habitat bill. It appropriates $150,000 a year to increase the bee populations and to raise public awareness.
A Minnesota company is expanding east, and it'll mean at least 100 new jobs for the West Metro. Maple Plain-based Proto Labs has announced its plans to move some of its manufacturing operations to Plymouth. The company wants to renovate a 175,000 square foot industrial facility on Niagara Lane. Proto Labs makes custom machine parts. The company plans to be up and running in Plymouth next spring.
Well, with school starting soon, a local nonprofit organization is helping students stock up on personal care supplies. Kody's Closet is providing personal hygiene items to students who can't afford them. The closet will benefit students at Cooper High School and Robbinsdale Middle School. Colleen Thorne started it as a tribute to her late son, Kody, who was concerned about kids who lacked basic necessities.
It's basically coming from the community, so we need the community's help, and we need if everybody could just buy one toothpaste or one toothbrush. It really isn't that much, but it accumulates really fast, and then we can help out a lot of people with only spending a couple dollars.
That's Kody there, and for more information on how you can help, you can visit kodyscloset.org on the internet. Still ahead, a unique volunteer opportunity revived from the depths of Lake Minnetonka.
And then later in sports, we'll visit a talented Maple Grove swim team that's under the direction of a new head coach.
But first, don't write off summer just yet. Your AccuWeather forecast shows warmer temperatures just ahead. This summer, you can step off a dock on Lake Minnetonka and into history.
Passengers can ride the Steamboat Minnehaha, which is operated by many trained volunteers from right here in the Northwest Metro. We went along for a ride this week to learn all about it.
My grandparents and their parents may have been on this boat.
Sitting at the dock of Excelsior Bay,
It means a part of the history, and I think the history of the lake.
there's a piece of history.
When I first came on, I probably didn't appreciate the history of the boat as much as I do today.
A boat called the Minnehaha that's just waiting to give you a ride.
It's just fun to run when the boat's quiet, when everything's working right.
But not on this night.
And the one right next to it. There's a lot to do and there's a lot to learn.
Terry Burns, who lives nearby in Golden Valley, is part of the training crew.
It's fun to operate. We have a great crew.
Training more volunteers to run a boat built in 1906 that operates like a power plant. It needs engineers to run the diesel boiler and steam engine, and pursers
Both of you will take them off the post.
to take care of the ropes near the dock. Plus more captains to oversee it all.
It's a huge responsibility.
Volunteers train for the worst,
Stay clear, we're doing a man overboard drill.
spending hours on the water and passing tests, all to do what they love.
This lake is so full of history that it's fun to share it with people.
Volunteers also tell the story of the boat itself. The Minnehaha ferried people across the lake until 1926. Later, the boat was sunk in deep water.
She spent most of the last century under the water.
A history enthusiast brought the boat back up to the surface in the 1980s.
When they brought the boat up and they pumped it out, it floated on its own. So the Minnehaha did not want to be under the lake anymore. She was ready to come up.
Now the boat is restored. And there's a crew in place, so volunteers can share their love of the lake each time the Minnehaha pulls away from the dock.
People can experience it today and make so many memories on the boat that people didn't have a chance to previously.
On Lake Minnetonka, Shannon Slatton, 12 News. And the Minnehaha needs volunteers for pursers, captains, and engineers. We've got more information on how to get involved posted at 12.tv. So, Mike, if you don't have a boat, that's a good way to get out on the lake.
That's a cool ride.
Sure, it is. For only $5 or $10, you can go all around.
She's got smooth lines.
There you go. All right. What started in France ends up in Robbinsdale.
We have the inspirations of Monet coming up. But first in sports, we preview the Cooper football team. John Jacobson is in next. Well, Maple Grove always seems to have a pretty decent swimming team, and this year should be no difference. No reason why not, right?
Yeah, a little different look on the pool deck for the coaching staff, so that'll be different. But yeah, I think some good swimmers and divers hitting the pool this week. The first week of practice for fall high school sports athletes is over now, including for girls swimmers and divers. At Maple Grove, the strong Crimson team will have a different look this season. Angie Zangle is the new head girls swim coach at Maple Grove. The former Anoka High School swimmer knows she's stepping into a good situation.
Yes, we got very blessed with having such a deep team. The girls are all so wonderful. They're all so welcoming. The girls and their parents, everyone, it's just such a great, the camaraderie between the team is just so close.
She's very understanding. She takes it slow. She'll make sure everybody understands what we're doing. And she's really willing to just listen to us, and she takes all of our comments in, and she really tries to make it a very good atmosphere for all of us.
The first week of practices for the Crimson has concentrated on drills and getting the team used to each other, and for some, the pool again.
There's a lot of girls who have been swimming in club for the last 9 months since last season, and then there's some girls who just started on Monday. So it's really our main focus this week is to get all of the girls comfortable at the water, get their bodies used to working out, and see what we got to work with for our upcoming meets.
A mix of returning varsity and JV swimmers and some young incoming talent should make the Crimson a conference contender and probably the Section 8AA favorite again, too. This team is aiming high.
I think we have a lot of swimmers that definitely have a chance to make it up high and make it to state and do well. And we have a lot of divers that could do well at sections, too. So I think we have a high chance for success with that.
Maple Grove competes in the Northwest Suburban Conference Relays next Thursday. The first dual meet for the Crimson is August 27th at Osseo. The Cooper football team has been steadily improving over the last few years, and a new group of players is hoping to keep the Hawks moving forward in 2013. Jason Malone has a preview in today's training camp report.
Seniors on the Cooper football team learned a lot about leadership last season when the Hawks marched all the way to the section championship. Now it's their turn to step up and lead.
We had a lot of seniors last year that knew what they was doing. That's why I think we need to improve on more other seniors leading the lower classmen.
We basically just try to keep the intensity that they had last year, try to keep the momentum going, the leadership going, trying to get guys disciplined because we kind of had that problem last year, but we picked it up towards the end of the season. So if we can just get all of that going from the beginning, then we can start fast and finish faster.
The goal for Cooper is to keep getting better and to permanently change the culture of this program. Coach Willie Howard and his staff want players, fans, the community to take pride in Hawks football.
I think it'll be a work in progress even after we make it to state. I think then our goals and our expectations go higher because we're not trying to do a 1 year, 2 year turnaround at Cooper and then say, okay, we're back to old Cooper ways, because I think, Mr. Olfke, Mr. Norby, even though that they didn't have the winning records, they set a foundation and a standard here at Cooper, and I'm just taking it to the next level.
Replacing almost its entire starting lineup will mean some growing pains for Cooper, but they'll have good athletes. Senior Kayvon Hawkins will play wide receiver and linebacker, and linemen Damian Stovall and Jelon Johnson will be counted on to spearhead the run game.
Our identity is a lot. We run the ball, We got a lot of hard-nosed players on our offense and defense.
We got a couple running backs. We got a lot of speed. But this year we do got the big dogs up front. We got a couple 300-plus pounders that can move. And so we're going to be able to put ourselves in position to really see what Coach TP can do with all the athleticism on the O-line, with the receivers, our tight ends. We got some big bodies.
Cooper will test its mettle right away. The Hawks open the season hosting Southwest Conference power Marshall. The Tigers haven't lost a regular season game in 2 years. Jason Malillo, 12 Sports.
There's a capsule look at the Hawks. Willie Howard now in his 4th year as head coach, coming off an 8-win season. Cooper, as Jason mentioned, opening the season at home against Marshall on August 30th, week 2, Benilde St. Margaret. So a couple of good tests for Cooper right off the bat.
Yeah, no softballs to start
No,
off the
that's
season
right.
at all.
No.
Great, thanks,
Right.
John.
Thank you, John. Still ahead, a trip to France that leaves quite an impression in Robbinsdale.
We'll be right back. 5 artists went to France for inspiration, and they found plenty of it.
It is a trip that will keep producing paintings for years, and in today's weekend showcase, see how artists are combining their works at a show in Robbinsdale.
This was from a winery in the Dordogne area in Lot River Valley.
For Eileen France and 4 other artists, a trip to France was a true pilgrimage.
And it was just so pretty.
Their trip turned into a show called Impressions of France at the Robin Gallery.
We paint outside, usually one painting in the morning, one in the afternoon, sometimes maybe even a third if we have enough time and if the light is good.
They painted and painted, including the famous bridge in Monet's Japanese garden. They all painted that one, each in their own style, plus a photograph as they stayed in Monet's estate.
The first day that we did that, all I could do is stand there and cry because it was overwhelmingly beautiful.
Up until now, Renee Ellis painted from photographs she had taken. But this is the first time her photos have become part of a show.
I did what artists shouldn't do, and I fell in love with my photographs.
Like this street scene where you wonder whether a fire truck can make it under a historic archway. It's not impossible.
But it actually did.
And what's a trip to Paris without the Eiffel Tower?
All of these lights are coming off and on, which is why I took it.
Everything was fogged, but I could see this rose very clearly.
Eileen also works from photographs sometimes, like a painting of a rose that took weeks to finish.
I loved all the little raindrops.
But there's plenty of inspiration for paintings to come.
I love being out on a beautiful day and just looking around, seeing what there is and just trying to express some of it.
The show is at the Robin Gallery now through the end of the month. They are open there Wednesday through Saturday afternoons and in the evenings on Thursday. And the fact that Eileen's last name is France, purely coincidence.
No relation.
No relation to the country.
But
right?
you could tell they're so passionate about what they do.
That's pretty
and their
good
trip.
stuff too.
Yeah.
It really opened their eyes to a lot of different things about art there. So,
Sure, you
yep.
can appreciate that.
That'll do it. That's it for now. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Community Corner coming up next.